They're hardcore. They're not going to be good. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals.
I'm going to talk about the grudge between the Black Americans and the Africans. So for the longest time, personally, I've been thinking like, these people are united, they love each other, only to learn later that the Black Americans don't really like Africans. They diss them, how they talk, the accent, and everything. So let's listen to these videos and then come back and do more analysis.
Guys, I've been insulted. I have been insulted. You know what? It's so funny, guys. Let me tell you one thing. So I came across these Black American lives. I'm trying to avoid these lives and these videos because they are so draining and annoying. So anyway, this morning I was just having my tea here and enjoying my breakfast. And let me tell you guys, I came across this live and they were talking about when Africans are gonna go back, like for good. Anyway, I joined the live and I got a request to go up as a guest. And I joined. I was there. My box was there. And I climbed up there. So on this live, they asked me, they were like, can you start with the country? Where are you from? Oh, ethnicity. And I said, I'm proud Kenyan American. And they're like, no, there's no Kenyan American. What are you? I said, I am proud Kenyan American. I hold both passports. So I'm a US citizen and a Kenyan. Oh, insults started coming in. Another thing is, so they asked me to read the prompts. The first prompt was like, oh, when are you all Africans going back to your countries? When are you guys going to go back for good? And I said, well, when you talk about going back, what do you mean? Because we do visit our countries, you know that. They're like, not visit. When are you guys going to go back for good? And I said, we'll go back when we are ready. We are here to stay. This is our country. We go back whenever. We go back whenever we are ready. And right now we are not ready because our children are US citizens too. You think we're going to abandon our kids here and run back to Africa? And we can go to Africa anytime. That is home. Mama Africa is home. They were like, are you guys afraid of going back to poverty? And I said, no, we grew up in that poverty and we like it that way. That is us. Africans are not forcing you guys to come to Africa, and we don't even need you guys in Africa. We are okay. For us, whether you need us or not, we are here. You know what? We are not here because of you. We are here because this is what we want. And we go, Africans, we go for what we want. Oh my God, I got insults. So anyway, this lady, she asked me, so when are you going back? You, as Betty. I said, for me, and I said, when I go back, how is it going to improve your life? That's what I asked the lady. Me going back to Africa, how is that going to improve your life? If you are still struggling today, if I go back, is your life going to get better? It's not going to get better. And I said, you know what? America needs immigrants. So whether you like it or not, we are here to stay. And guess what? I reminded them about DV lottery. I said, okay, and I said, all this noise you are making online, how is it going to change the immigration laws? Because there are immigration laws. You guys don't know about laws. We know about laws. We can change the laws. And I said, you cannot. You cannot change immigration laws. We come here legally and we got our citizenship and our green cards. We are here legally. So, and they were like, oh, and I said, do you know anything about diversity visa lottery? They don't know. They have no idea what DV lottery is. They have no idea. And I say, okay, let us educate you about the different visas. We came here there are so many different visas and they have no idea. All they know is we come here. They don't know about visas. They don't know the different visas. They don't know how we get here. They have no idea. All they want is to us to get the hell out of here. So that's all they care for. They just want us to get out of America as quick as we can so that their lives can get better. So anyway, I don't understand why anybody would be so much bothered by someone else who is not. Even in Africa, we have people that come to our countries. They don't bother us. They don't bother us and we don't interfere because they are not even bothering with them and talking day and night, it's not gonna stop immigration. Immigration is immigration everywhere. So anyway, I asked one of them, when was the last time you traveled internationally? Oh my God, she has never, she was like, how much is a US passport? It's cheap, I can get a US passport. And I'm like, no, can you afford to travel? They're like, we don't want to come to Africa. Anyway, the second portion was the second prompt was, why are Africans forcing them to become Africans? Why are Africans forcing Black Americans to become Africans? And I was like, which Africans? Which Africans are forcing Black Americans to become Africans? Like, which Africans are forcing you guys? We are smart. We know the difference between a Black American and an African. And we never force you. In fact, Africa, we are enough. We don't need to baptize anybody to become African. You become African if you want. If you have any business in Africa, that's when you become an African. You're welcome. But if you don't want to come to Africa, that is on you. And it's so, let me tell you, the worst and the difficult and the stubborn and the, I don't know what word to use, you can ever argue with is a Black American. My Lord, I think they have, I don't know whether it is here, it starts from here. It is so difficult to argue and to put a point across with the dumb. These people, the way they argue, the way when they talk, you like, the mind of an African and the mind of a smart Black American, educated Black American, and the mind of a ghetto Black American is so it's like day and night. Let me tell you, to argue with the dumb Black American, it's the worst thing you can ever do. They are so backward. Yes, you are born in America. Yes, you speak English, but you are so, like, when you listen to them, you're like, are you even serious? Anyway, they don't know nothing about immigration. They do know nothing. And you know what I told them? I say, you know what? It's better for us here. We come and contribute so much to the economy. We don't come and take from the government. We come in to add value. What value are you adding even to the U.S. government itself? The U.S. government like hardworking people, and we work hard. We don't take from the government. Oh my God, these people are so stubborn. They talking nonsense about Africans, and I'm like, you know what? You guys can talk all day, all night, all day, all night. This one will not take you anywhere. You will not move Africans from here. You will never change the rules. You can never change immigration laws. You will never stop immigrants from coming to the U.S. because there are laws. There are immigration laws. They're like, oh, no wonder you guys are getting deported. I said, okay, we're getting deported. If we get deported, that is not your problem. Even if you get deported, it's not going to change your life. If you're struggling, you're struggling. Oh, the jealousy. Jealous. The Black Americans that are jealous of Africans, swallow it. We live in your heads rent free. We will bother you and become your headache. You are Tylenol. We are your Tylenol. We are your Tylenol and your headache.
What's so bad about having African descent? My nigga, you're not Cherokee. Like, this whole FBA movement, I know I'm gonna get some hate, but bro, it's so stupid to me. We sitting here arguing about who African and who not. My nigga, they look at us the same way. This is exactly what they want to continue to divide us, bro. The more we argue with each other, we not arguing at the real goddamn, target.
So, where are you from?
Houston, Texas.
And you?
Alexandria, Virginia.
Okay.
Orlando, Florida.
Okay, so is it safe to say you're all African Americans?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, what are your thoughts on Africa?
I've never been to Africa, but I think it's a beautiful place, and I would really love to visit sometime.
Okay. And you?
I'm a history major, so I learned a lot about African history,
Okay.
and I think that there's a lot of culture, and it traces back to our roots. So, I mean, I haven't been either, but I've learned a lot about it.
Awesome.
Yeah, my best friend is Ethiopian, so I grew up really immersed in the culture. Like I celebrate their holidays, I wear their dresses, so I've really like grown up and been immersed in the Ethiopian culture.
Awesome, awesome. You know, the reason why I'm doing this interview is I want to bring awareness that the strength of black people is actually in Africa uniting. Because when Africa unites and becomes a superpower, who can mess with people of African descent? You know what I mean? And right now, there's a scramble for Africa. Everybody else is benefiting from Africa except people that belong to the soil. And I'm just preaching this and using the movement. I'm using fashion to spread the word. So I hope you wear it on campus and send me some pictures. Thank you so much. Africa must unite. Black units. Because when Africa unites, everybody is finished. Okay? All right. Thank you so much. Let me grab the hat. So there you go. You get a hat?
They're hardcore. They're not going to be good. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They were born to be criminals, frankly. They were born to be criminals.
And I want to speak directly to our children as well. And please hear me loud and clear. Do not listen to what Donald Trump called you yesterday. When the president from the Oval Office calls you natural-born killers, children who are born to be violent, I say this: I respect the office, but I will never honor ignorance. To our children, you are loved and you're needed. To our children, we believe in you and we invest in you. To our children, we love you and we are going to honor every God-honored potential that you have. To our children, there's nothing we won't do to keep you safe. To our children, we love you and we are going to make sure that you are never bullied, and I don't care what position they hold. Because I want to be clear, if I listened, when I was coming up, if I listened to the tropes and to the trolls, if I listened to the haters and the heartless, if I listened to the Archie Bunker mindset and the dog whistling, if I spent my time focusing on those people who did not love me instead of focusing on those people who do, I would never be the 63rd governor of the state of Maryland and the only black governor in the United States of America. Here in Maryland, we believe in you. We're going to support you. We're going to make sure you're safe. And we're going to make sure that every God-honored opportunity is within your grasp.
Since they're so mad, let's make them even madder. Let's spin back to what I said last year, because I don't know what happened to my video, but here it is again. The way that Black America treats Africans is completely uncalled for. Whether it's Nigerian, South African, whatever brand of African you are, the way that you are treated in America by your skin folk, who clearly are not kin folk, is ridiculous, and I'm talking about it. Yes, I'm gonna talk about it. You laugh at the food, you laugh at the accent, you making foo-foo get the line jokes, laughing at foo-foo, talking about the food is nasty. First of all, your taste buds in America, a lot of the stuff in America that we eat is banned in other countries. African food is not nasty. They're not funny looking. And all of that go get the line jokes and, making a noise every time you see them, that's childish. Because had you been not taken from that land, had all of us still been left there, we would all still be speaking the same language. And you know it's true. That's why you got so mad the first time. I bet you don't do nothing to this video. Whether you African American, you have African parents who came here, and whatever, since they want to say. And that's another thing. Anytime, now they will claim our lineage, they'll claim native lineage, they'll claim every other thing, but when you say some of y'all came from Africa, they get so mad, like you really just called them the N-word, and you did. When they hear the word Africa, they think, did you just call me the N-word? They treat it the same way. Africa is a beautiful place to live, and Africa is probably the only place that you can go and start over and be accepted, treated like kings and queens. So not too much on Africa. The African disrespect by Black America needs to stop. And yes, I'm talking about it. Clock that.
In my 6 years of living in America, I've come to realize something. Like, white people, they treat African immigrants better than Black Americans. How Black Americans treat, African immigrants. I do not know what is the problem, because some of the Black Americans in America, like, they hate Africans. I don't know why they hate us. Like, I think they're their roots and their ancestors are African, of African origin, right? And that's why they are called African American. So I don't see the reason why, because I came to America, you should hate me, right? Why don't you just do your thing and I do my thing and we coexist harmoniously, right? So I've come to realize, like, some white people, like, they treat us better, they talk to us in a better way. But then when you talk to an African American, you hear, when you have a conversation, you hear there's something inside there, even if they're not telling you directly. You hear, or you can tell that there's some hatred within them, and I don't know why. Sometimes they say that we take their jobs. Sometimes they say a lot of things which are not true. And I'm like, this is your country. You're a citizen here. And if this is your country, what prevents you to get a better life? What prevents you to get that education, get that better job? If I come here in America, I go to school, I get an education, I become a citizen, I get a better job than you have, who is to blame? Who is to blame? Come on now. So I don't know why all this hatred, I don't know where it's coming from, but it's something that I've noticed, and I've realized that it's there. It's there, and it needs to end, because why should we be fighting? We look the same. We have the same origins, even if your origins just they rotate just back, but there shouldn't be hate. There should be love, okay? Because we're in this world to just coexist together, regardless of your race, regardless of your color, regardless of your religion, regardless of what you believe in, because we are all one race. We are all the human race, and we should coexist harmoniously. So stop that hate.
America hate Africa. They hate us. Hey.
America hates Africa? I never heard that.
How you... Come on, gang. Every picture they showed you of Africa been places with no water, dirt bags, like starving kids, and that's not even how Africa look. Every picture they showed you, they hate them, because they can't even show their good side, so they gotta hate Africa. Because they made me think that Africa was just a poor country, and you don't want to go there. But that's not true. That's one small part of Africa. But that's the only part they showed you on commercials over and over again, over and over again. So they want to get you the picture that if you black, this what your home look like. Yeah, but you wouldn't understand.
Well, tell me. I'm learning.
I just told you wouldn't understand, gang, how I go. But Africa not up as they say it is. Who? I'm African too. Oh, you ain't know I was African? Yeah, I'm from Kemet.
African immigrants do not view racism the same way as Black Americans, because we are looking at it from two completely different perspectives. Africans grew up in majority Black nations, with Black culture, Black leadership, and Black everything being the norm on a day-to-day basis. It's not the core part of their identity, because everyone is majority Black when they look around. Black is the default. So off rip, they are not looking at things through a racial lens. But Black people in America look at everything through a racial lens, because we are the minority in a country that was built off of our oppression. And the entire system was designed not only to exclude us, but to capitalize off of that exclusion. So systemic oppression is the struggle that Black Americans are dealing with on the home front. Struggles that people are dealing with in Africa are due to a failing or underdeveloped system. Poverty, corruption, lack of opportunity, economic instability, which is really the legacy of colonialism and neocolonialism. So in their minds, they see America as having a functioning system. They see America as full of opportunity compared to back in Africa. So they come here and they focus on individual advancement, where Black Americans see the system as being historically and currently rigged against us. We are not immigrants. We are people from whom the system was explicitly built to oppose. They often see racism as individual prejudice, personal act of meanness or ignorance that can be overcome or ignored on their path to success. Where Black people understand that it is systemically embedded feature of law, institution, and economic that create a barrier far beyond individual prejudice. And I think a lot of the disagreement comes from not understanding what something means to be systemic. And something is systemic, a pattern behavior or a culture that is repetitive that many people are perpetuating. Because there are many people in America who are racist and have anti-Black sentiment, and they encompass various positions and roles in America, it makes racism systemic. The system is not a machine, but the individuals who make up the machine. Since so many people are racist, the issue is systemic. They have embedded personal prejudices into the system. Not only that, are passing down this ideology to their offspring, which makes it more systemic. Anyways, so because of the hurdles that they faced back home, they often see what Black Americans go through as trivial or frivolous or not as hard as compared to what they went through back home. That's where the ideology that Black Americans are lazy comes from, because they face national systemic instability in their homelands. But what they are not understanding is that what Africa is going through is a core function of systemic racism. It is systemic racism on a global scale. Systemic instability for Black Americans is internal. It's redlining, it's mass incarceration, it's police brutality, it's education inequity. But for Africa, it's the deliberate underdevelopment of the entire continent that is primarily populated by Black people. It's the European powers carving up the continent with no regards for ethnic, linguistic, or cultural boundaries, and the creation of artificial nations primed for internal conflict. It's the exploitation used by Western corporations and financial institutions like IMF and the World Bank, pillaging resources and dictating economic policy through debt. This is economic racism on a global scale. The ideology that justified slavery in America, the belief in white supremacy, and the inferiority of Black people is the exact same ideology that justified the colonization of Africa. Africans say, I came over here and succeeded, why can't you? They are comparing overcoming poverty caused by global anti-racism, anti-Blackness, i.e. colonialism, to the Black American experience of overcoming poverty by domestic anti-Black racism. We are battling the monsters created by the same beast, white supremacy. One monster was unleashed abroad to destabilize and plunder nations. The other was built at home to control and exploit the population. Defeating one does not mean the other does not exist. It just means you're fighting in a different arena. Anyways, if you're new here, welcome. Almost my entire page is dedicated to deconstructing white supremacy. And this particular topic is the foundation of a new theory that I'm working on called the diasporic division stratagem. And this video is already too long, but I already have an entire playlist dedicated to it, and I will be expanding upon it soon. But basically, the gist of it is white supremacy created all of this friction between Black Americans and people of the diaspora so that we would never come together and fight global white supremacy. But we actually have more in common than we have apart. And our main
Sabonani, good people. Okay, so I said we was going to start this series on Ask a Black American a Question. And y'all came through with the questions. I'm not gonna lie. I appreciate y'all support. I appreciate y'all come. Some of y'all. When I find your Goko, I'm gonna tell her what you said in my comments. I deleted it, but I screenshotted it first, and I'm gonna send it to your Coco. Okay? Just so you know. But one question that I did get a lot was, why do Black Americans look down on or not like Africans? I know we talking about South Africa, but Africa as a whole. Why do Black Americans feel like don't like Africans or look down on Africans? And I'm gonna say equivocally that that's false. I don't know Black Americans that just walk around and I don't like Africans. I don't like those Africans. Forget those Africans. You have to understand where we come from, right? So when we see Black people, we see us, right? It don't matter if you're from Texas. It don't matter if you're from Florida. It don't matter if you're from Chicago. It don't matter where you're from, right? We see us as all Black people, right? Even though within the states, those cities, New York, California, Florida, Chicago, those are like different countries, different customs, different tribal stuff, different ways of living, different food. Each place is its own country, just like here in Africa, right? We seem to make our own communities wherever we go, right? So that's same statewide. So imagine coming from a place where, even though I'm from Chicago and you from New York, we both Black, right? And then finding out within African culture that there's tribalism, right? Even though you Black, you Xhosa. Even though you Black, you got Zulu. Even though you Black, right, you Swati or Petty, right? And that it doesn't mesh the same way, right? So we come and we meet Africans and we come to Africa and we expect it to be kumbaya, ubuntu, right? We all one, right? But then we found out, I'm a Black American, I'm not Zulu. I'm a Black American, I'm not, Xhosa, right? And so it can come off like, oh, they think they're better or they don't like us. I've never heard that. I've never heard Black Americans talking about how much they don't like Africans. I will say though, a lot of the Africans, because somebody asked me about what kind of Africans migrated to the U.S. to make y'all think this way. And I'm gonna just be truthful. There is a group of people who migrate to the States that when they came to the States, to know the type of privilege, right, that was accessible there in comparison to what may have been available in the country that they're from, oftentimes looked at Black Americans as ungrateful or lazy or unmotivated, right? Because they coming in to the U.S., right, and they going to school, they becoming engineers, they becoming doctors, they doing all of this stuff, and they looking at Black Americans on BET, they looking at Black Americans, right? But the part that they missed about that was this people has been systematically oppressed for 400 years, right? They told us the same lie about you that they told you about us, right? I don't think that a lot of Africans really have the understanding of how bad it was for our Gogos, our Mkulus, how bad it was in those times, through Jim Crow era, through the segregation era, through slavery. I think a lot of Africans have an idea of what slavery was, but not really like a full digestion, a full take of what it did to us, right? And the mountain that we're climbing, right? A lot of times we can look on TV and we can say, oh, they're making it. They're doing music, they're doing entertainment, they're doing these things, right? But you don't really see what goes on behind the scenes. The same way we don't see all the time what's going on behind the scenes with you guys, right? But at the same time, we see you as Black. I see you as my brother. I'm literally judging you off of how you treat me, the energy you give me, the impressions, the feelings that you give me versus where you're from or what city you live in, or if I meet another Black American in Africa, I don't give a damn where he's from. We brothers, because you understand my plight. And I think that's something that I wish that my African brothers and sisters would know, is that if nobody understands what you've been through, going through, and trying to overcome, Black America understands. We get it, 100%. Which is why we want to come, which is why we want to be here, right? Imagine being a people who you can't really identify who you are, right? You can't really speak to your heritage. You can't really speak to your great grandmas. You can't really speak to those family traditions. And then you come to a place that you know you have some type of, there's a seed of me somewhere here, right? And you feel a little rejected, or you feel misused, right? Because a lot of times when people like me or African Americans come, right, we're automatically assumed to be rich. It's automatically assumed that we're privileged, right? And it's so wrong. A lot of us grew up in the same type of townships that you grew up in. You would never imagine the levels of poverty that my brothers and sisters in the States are going through. You would never think that there's women that have to live in their cars with their kids because they can't afford the rent, right? So even though these people are making more per hour, right, the rent for that place that you might pay 4K rands for, right, we paying 50K for, right? And so you have to understand that though it seems like there's this tier of privilege that we entitled to, we all still under the same system. So there's no room for me not to like you. There's no room for me to be racist. There's no room for me to have these tribalistic preferences, right? It's no room for me not to like somebody just because they from New York, right? And so I think if we can get past the perception, right, get to know people for who they are, right, then we can get past this, right? I think that there's a lot of division that's unnecessary. Right? There's no hate between Black Americans and Africans. Black Americans want to be in Africa. Imagine if these Black Americans felt safe to come here and invest and be treated like family and be treated like friends and be treated like you want us to grow. You want us to involve ourselves in your culture because we want to be, right? A lot of people are fiending for that. That's the reason that I'm here. That's the reason that I decided to come after traveling so many countries, right? I traveled so many countries and I found that no matter what, I'm still, you understand? And so I'm grateful for that question, and I hope I gave you an answer. I'm not writing nothing down. I'm just answering it off the spirit. But there's no hate between Black Americans and Africans. And the moment that we remove that thought, it's gold. Okay, I'm gonna come back with part 2 with the next question. But I hope I got your question right, sis. It's all love. Black Americans, South Africans, Africans, wherever you're from on the continent, embrace us, love us. We here, we together. Let's go. Sambeni.
So we all know of the phrase, welcome to America, the land that we all dream of. And for most of us, when we hear or listen about America, when we just hear stories about America, we get to hear very good stories, that it's very good when it comes to employment. Like if you work, after 2 minutes, you'll just see that they're looking for somebody to employ, and a lot of other good things. Actually, it's some platforms that have come up recently that have actually made us that America also has the bad sides of it, but the media has always put out the good side of it. And when it comes to the Africans also, we have seen so many going to America and improving the lifestyle or the life back at home here in Africa. And it's a good thing, of course, and that has encouraged so many people, Africans, to also travel abroad to work there and support back home, of course with the intention of coming back. But social media technology evolve, and now people come out to talk about the struggles that they are going through in America. That it's unfortunate, it's the Black Americans who are not treating the Africans well. And one of them was talking about this situation where she was in this platform, and then they asked her. It was actually like a discussion, a live stream. They were talking about several things, and when she was allowed in, okay, she was asked like, where do you come from? How do you identify yourself? And the moment she talked about, I come from Kenya, and my homeland is Kenya. I am a Kenyan American. I mean, these people started hating on her, and also they started dissing her. Like, when are you people? When are you people planning to go back? We don't need you here. So I don't know, why is it that the presence of Africans, humiliates the presence of the Black Americans? Because guys, it really doesn't make sense when I see a Black person not wanting to be identified as a Black. They just want to be called American Blacks, not Black Americans. I mean, what's even the difference between the two? I don't see, I mean, I don't see any difference. They're all the same, whether you say Black American or American Black. When I listened to this particular lady talking about all these things, I was like, what the hell? I mean, you are like 50 years and above, and you are still arguing of me not being a Black American, but I am an American Black. And after all of them originated from Africa. If you trace their roots back to the slavery period, their parents, their great parents, not only parents, but I will say great grandparents, they were actually forcefully taken to Europe, America as slaves through West Africa, most of them. And, they ended up having families from that time to this time. And this is why you'll find a Black person saying that I've never been to Africa, but some of them are really proud that, yeah, I'm happy because my grandparents came from Africa through, the sea. They were actually shipped here, forcefully shipped here. But why would you hate on an African person? Because it really doesn't sound good that, when these two groups meet, they would diss them on how they talk, their accent, how they do things. Because, even me personally, if I go to Europe, America now, I will still carry my culture there and then adopt in slowly by slowly. And you cannot compare somebody that has just gone or recently gone to America to somebody that was born there. If you were born there, you will be incorporated into the culture automatically. But remember, this world, we have different cultures. As the fact that you just come from a different country, that exactly tells you that you have a different culture, and those different cultures, there are also different other things. How people do things is not the same as how the Americans or whichever world that you are going to. I mean, we are all different in our own ways. So instead of respecting each other and also supporting each other as the Black community, it's unfortunate that, okay, unfortunately on the other side, that most of Black people, even some from Kenya, they are actually saying, unfortunately, that their first encounter was by their fellow blacks, I mean Black Americans. And it's funny that the white people treat them much better than Black Americans. I mean, what's happening here, guys? I fail to understand this thing. I'm really failing to understand this, because personally I would feel like, being a Black person and then you meet another Black person. I mean, okay, I'm not trying to support racism or anything to do with that, but I was like, if both of us are black, I mean, why would you want to treat me lesser over human being? And yet the brain that you have, I mean, everything, even the white people. But the thing is, we should love ourselves. We should love everybody in this world. We should love, our fellow human beings. And man, I mean, this is just crazy. It's crazy to hear such stories. It's sad, really sad. And personally, I feel like if probably I go to America now, I should be expecting, I mean, to be treated kind of differently from first by my, fellow black people. I mean, it's a crazy world anyway. And I still continue researching on this story because I couldn't actually, I mean, it's really hard to believe. It's becoming difficult, but these are people coming out with real stories, real reactions, and there is no way we can deny facts and what people are coming out to talk, because these particular videos that I'm playing here, it's not like it's from one person. Videos from different people passes a very strong message, and that the probability of it being true is like really high. And unlike if we sourced videos from only one person, then we will be like, this particular person is only deviating towards this direction. He or she is leaning on one direction, and therefore he or she is kind of biased. But we are sourcing videos from different creators, and that tells you that the story is true and nothing but the truth. But what I know is that also it will depend with where you go and live. Probably when you visit America, I will say there are states that are more white, and okay, the percentage of white people are higher than a percentage of black people. I believe it's kind of like that in America. I'm not sure, but that's my belief. And also, when Trump came out and said that, these black children, most of them end up being, AL criminal. I hope I took the abbreviation well. I really felt sad about it because that's a whole president. I mean, making that comment, that's sad. That is sad. I've grown to know that a president is a unifying factor and not a dividing factor. And I'm like, why do we have such kind of leaders, the type of leaders that tell the world this particular group of people or of children that come from this particular race, they are going to be this particular kind of people when they grow up, like they're going to end up in jail most of the time. And even his friend Charlie Kirk, he asked about, like, why is it that most unaliving is done by the black people, and the black people are like 13% of the American population. And actually he blamed it on, African fathers being absent, like they just impregnate and leave, impregnate and leave. So the children grow up not having father figures. But there are so many children that are being brought up single-handedly, and they still, they still prosper. And also this particular thing of GANG, it's not like it's totally black people. I mean, that was just, I felt like it was just painting the black people to be that bad, but I don't think so, because there are also white people that are doing the same kind of activities, and I think the world would be a better place if we really loved ourselves and supported ourselves, instead of playing dirty politics of division, like, I am this, you are that, and you are likely to do this because you have this, you don't have that. That's not the way the world should be like. Anyway, guys, thank you so much if you watched this video up to this point. I appreciate your presence. I love you to the moon and back.